My hope is that we're creating something here for our players and our athletes that is different, that is unique, that I would consider special. And I always look at things through the lens of a parent and through the lens of myself. So I always ask myself these two questions when I coach. Number one, would I want to play for myself and for my coaches? And that's an interesting question to really dive into, because you got to be willing to look in the mirror. You got to be willing to be honest with yourself. You got to be willing to apologize, because we're not all perfect, and we cross those lines sometimes where we're like, gosh, I shouldn't have said that, or man, I rode that kid too hard, or I yelled when I shouldn't have yelled, or whatever it is. And it keeps you grounded, and it keeps you getting back. And I think the kids appreciate that, that I ask that question. And then I look at it through the eyes of a lens of a parent, which is also hard, because no parent wants to see their kids getting chewed out or wants to see their kids getting yelled at. But most of us can understand that it's part of the game of football. And the reason why the coaches are being so hard on my child isn't to degrade them, isn't to make them lose their dignity. We don't do it in that type of way. We do it in a constructive, positive way. And it's to make them better. It's to grow them physically and mentally as human beings. And at the end of the year, it's why we see so much transformation in these kids that play for us. We tell our kids this. We go, look, guys, we are going to be brutally honest with you. I will never lie to you. And sometimes the truth hurts. And sometimes the truth isn't what we want to hear. It's not always fun to hear that you're not doing something at your best level, or that at this point where you're at, you're not quite at the level that we need you to be at this spot on the field for us. And we do it in love. For every time we get after a kid, we come back with 20 more compliments to back it up. We do it in a constructive way. We do it in a way that the kid's not being bullied or anything like that. But by us being honest, by us developing those relationships with these kids, by us caring more about themselves than just them as football players, by knowing who their girlfriends are, what their family situation is, how they're doing in their classes, who their friends are, by pouring into their lives, helps our kids know, okay, number one, we can trust these guys. Number two, they care about us. And so number three, when they're asking us to do something, we can trust them, and we can go all out for them. And for me, doing Young Life on the side has always really helped with that, because I always take a group of 20 to 30 football players. Every summer we go to a Young Life camp, and by doing that, it's another way for me to get to know these guys. It's another way for them to see me in a different light, where I'm not just Coach Montoya, the coach, but also Coach Montoya, the person, and they get to see me with my family and my girls, and they get to see a lighter side of me. And I think all those things helps create, and I have other coaches that do things like that in different ways. I think all those things helps create the culture and the environment that we're trying to build here. I have the best coaching staff around. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm so fortunate with the group of guys that I've worked with, and most of us have been together now for over 10 years. We've kind of created a system where we know each other's thoughts and what we're doing before we even do them, and really has prolonged and made my coaching career here seamless, because we all have gifts and talents. We all have strengths and weaknesses, and I know what my weaknesses are. My weaknesses are pretty glaring, and I've been so fortunate that I have these guys that I'm surrounded by, that where I'm extremely weak, they are the opposite. It's their strength. It's their sweet spot. It's their talent. Our defense coordinator, Eric Gardardi, he's an incredible coach. He's brilliant. He's a math teacher here. He's also our strength and conditioning coach. He's passionate about those two things. He takes care of our fashion stuff, like our shirts and spirit packs and uniforms, things that don't even cross my mind. An incredible coach, and lots of our success is a big part of because of him being a part of the program. And then we have other glue guys that are just incredible. Mike Sabins is an on-campus teacher, does a lot behind-the-scenes work. Bowman Waka, on-campus teacher, does a lot of behind-the-scenes work. Dennis Murphy, I think he's been a teacher here since 1990. He's just got a servant's heart, incredible defensive line coach. He works with the special teams. Dean Petromonaco, he's a math teacher here. He's another brilliant guy. transformed our program. We always believe in best practices. My grandfather always told me, hey, don't learn from guys that go 5-5 every year. Go learn from the guys that win every year. And Dean has done that. He went and studied some of the best programs around and brought just a ton of information to us that we've completely changed the last 3 years, and I think has elevated our program to a whole new level. Then we got senior Jim Ridardi, retired teacher on staff, has been here since 1978, has coached football for decades and brings a lot of history and loves Placer High School. Obviously his son, Coach Ridardi, is our defense coordinator. You got Eric Egan, super relational with kids. Kids love him. Has a kind of a unique story himself. He's been disabled his whole life, almost wheelchair bound, but because of his tenacity and persistence has walked his whole life, even though the doctors never gave him a chance. And so kids really latch onto that and really respect him, and he brings just kind of a different dynamic to the thing. You got Chris Ferreira, who's our Booster Club president, does so much behind the scene work with our Booster Club board members, and he's essentially like having a coach with us, just because he does so many things. And then our lower level coaches, are kind of our unsung heroes. Jim Packkaiser being the head freshman coach, Travis McDonald as the defense coordinator, a group of guys down there that are also awesome. Scott Mitchell's been on the staff for years. And then you got Kyle Schwartz as our JV head coach, with other alumni like Josh Turney and Doug Garside and then Craig Kelly and several other members on both of those staffs. Those guys, I appreciate and respect those guys so much, because what we ask those guys to do is to create the athlete, to set the tone for us, to teach our system regardless of the wins and our losses. And fortunately for us, we've been able to win a lot of games at the lower levels too, because we feel like everything we do here, there's a process, there's a step to it, and we feel it just builds on itself. But those guys have the humility to say, it's not about me, it's not about my ego, it's not about us winning. It's about doing what's best for the program. And right now, what's best for the program at the freshman level is to just only do this many things that Coach Montoya has asked me to do, and then the JV's job is to take that, what Packkaiser and their group has done, and build on that. But it's still limited to what we want them to do, but it's within the system of what we run, and then we get them ready for the varsity level, who takes it to the next level. And had we not had that kind of buy-in from our lower level staff, had we not had the longevity of all of our coaches, we wouldn't be where we're at. And I would love for my kids to play for this coaching staff. I feel like parents are very, very blessed and fortunate to have all these guys around that are good men, wholesome men, great examples of who they are. There's other guys that I haven't mentioned that are part of the staff as well, but we've got a great staff. We've been off and running since we got back from Christmas break, so just over a month now, and our kids are working their tails off, and that's the fun thing. You get to a point where you've built something that now that the expectations are there, now the kids police themselves as much, if not more, than the coaches have to police them. There's a standard that's been set, and so it's kind of just building on itself. We're at the foundational part of our season where, I believe the most important thing we do for the fall season is the work that we put in from essentially January to July. Those 6 months or whatever it is, I believe is truly sets us up for the fall season, and has been a huge reason of why we've had so much success. And so kids are working hard, love the group we have back. Our to-be senior class is a little undervalued, a little underranked. They're 33-1 in high school. They've lost one high school game, and it was a 3-point heartbreaker in the CIF finals, which we should not have lost. We're losing one of the all-time great senior classes that we've ever had. The seniors that are going to be graduating are great, but our juniors and our sophomores, to-be juniors, is another great class. So we're very excited about it. We also have the toughest schedule that we've ever had, which is saying a lot because we've had many years where we've had tough schedule. But this one probably takes the cake, because 3 of our first 5 opponents are top 100 teams in the state, and we're a top 100 team in the state. And if you're in the top 100 teams in California, it means you're one of the top 100 teams in the whole country. You're a legitimate good football team. And we're playing 3 right out the get-go, two section title teams. One team played for a NorCal championship, and The only reason the third team didn't win that, or one of the two of the three teams that didn't get to go on a NorCal championship, one got coin flipped out because of the fires. One had to play their section title game late, so they didn't get to go play NorCal's either. So our schedule's going to be very, very difficult, but it's a challenge that we're looking forward to, and I think our kids are pretty excited about it. Hey, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate you doing this, and thank you very much.